Are we live? Yes, we are. All right, yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka G33. I want to welcome you guys back here to the Legit Shoot podcast. Thank you guys so very much for joining me, as always, here on your Monday. This is your Monday Night Raw review. And if you guys saw my Twitter page tonight, for those of you guys who usually live tweet me over Monday Night Raw, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say because I've been saying the same things about Monday Night Raw every single week for close to the last 2 months. Ever since the draft, I've been saying the same things about Monday Night Raw. And for those of you guys who watch the reviews and the podcast every single week, there's not going to be much of a difference here because WWE continues to do the same things every single week, making the same mistakes. Monday Night Raw, especially that first hour tonight, was absolutely unbearable. I legit fell asleep while watching the Sympathy of Destruction match between Jeff Hardy and Elias. I fell asleep for a good 20 minutes. And thank God, because I did not want to watch that match. There was nothing on the show of importance that happened outside of the opening with Bray Wyatt and The Fiend, and Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss, and AJ Styles being announced as the #1 contender. For a second, I almost thought that we could potentially see a new WWE champion tonight with The Miz. For a split second. But I remember this is WWE, and I remember how stupid this company is. And they proved it yet again tonight. The fact that Miz is your Money in the Bank contract holder is absolutely atrocious. Atrocious. I've reported on the podcast before, and this is going to be a very short opening shoot, right? Because like I said, there's not much on Monday Night Raw to talk about. And you guys have already heard me say these things before. Most of the stuff you hear tonight on the podcast is stuff you've heard me say in the last couple weeks. Because Monday Night Raw is the same show every single week. Every single week. But The Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank. If you guys saw the main event, which I wouldn't blame you if you guys didn't, I know some of you guys watch this podcast without watching Monday Night Raw because you guys just rather hear me talk about it than actually watch the show, which I appreciate the support and I don't blame you for doing. But with Monday Night Raw, right, Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank. We know that Otis won the contract in May, but at the time, Vince was pretty high on Otis. Clearly, he's not now. All right, Mandy Rose got moved to Monday Night Raw, which she's injured at the moment thanks to Nia Jax's dumbass. They also broke up Heavy Machinery, which has done Otis no favors, right? Tucker has not even been used on Monday Night Raw. So another tag team that you decided to break up for absolutely no reason. A tag team that you could be using on either Raw or SmackDown. You see how bad the tag team divisions are on both brands. But you decided to break up Heavy Machinery. And then the last nail in the coffin for Otis, you took away the Money in the Bank briefcase. It wasn't like anybody thought that Otis was going to become WWE or Universal Champion anytime soon. I like Otis, but he's not meant to be that guy. He was never meant to be that guy. He could be a mid-card champion, maybe. He was supposed to be a tag team champion, but, you know, WWE broke him and Heavy Machinery up before they could even get off the ground. But he, as a world champion, I don't think a guy with that kind of character, you know, even though he's pretty decent in the ring, we all knew that he was never going to work as a world champion. It was not believable to see him beat Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre for either one of the world championships. But, you know, still, we wanted to see maybe something would happen. But you decided to give the title to The Miz. You gave the briefcase to The Miz, right? I've been saying for months, I don't care about The Miz being Money in the Bank holder. I don't care about him holding the briefcase. I don't care to see him as world champion ever again. I don't. All right? I don't. I don't care. I don't care. And now tonight, you know, for a second there, you actually made me of all people believe that Miz could become Money in the Bank or become WWE champion. Right? You had AJ Styles out there helping the Miz and Morrison. They interfered at the end of the match, right? The match never even got a finish. So you see John Morrison, he does Star Shift Paid, his finisher on Drew McIntyre. Then Miz does the Skull Crushing Finale, his finisher on Drew McIntyre. What I would have done, I would have had AJ Styles do a Styles Clash and then do a Phenomenal Forearm. And then have Miz win the championship. I'm just saying from a logic standpoint. I'm not saying I wanted to see Miz win the championship. I'm just saying from a logic standpoint. But then you have Miz be a dumbass, right? And he gets mad at AJ Styles because Styles is trying to cash in the title for him. He's trying to cash in the briefcase for him. He's legit giving you an opportunity to become WWE champion on a silver platter. Right there for the taking. And you don't take it like a dumbass. He refuses to take it, and then Drew McIntyre recovers, and then he beats down everybody. Honestly, I want to see The Miz cash in just to lose and just be done with it. Because this is stupid. It's stupid. Every single week, you have wasted one of the best things in WWE this year with the Money to Break contract. First off, from giving it to Otis and having no concrete plans. And then giving it to The Miz, who's even worse than Otis. Someone nobody gives a shit about. And now every single week, you do this thing thinking, or trying to make us believe, right, that potentially Miz could cash in. After tonight, I know for a fact Miz is never cashing in. He's never successfully cashing in. He had the opportunity of a lifetime, logic-wise, and he didn't take advantage of it like a dumbass. Like a dumbass. This is the kind of crap with WWE. You pull that kind of dumbass crap in the main event, and you expect people to care. Yes, I ain't hyped for Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles at TLC. It's going to be a fantastic match. Two of my favorite male wrestlers. I love both men. It's going to be great. Right? But, man, do I feel bad for John Morrison, man. The guy's being wasted away. Absolutely wasted away. Wasted away in this stupid tag team with The Miz. Like they make them both look like more of a dumbass every single week, and I hate it. I really do. The logic gap. Just watch that main event alone tonight, and you see why this company is in shambles. I don't know how. I really, man. I'm so sick and tired of seeing The Miz and Morrison in the ring with Drew McIntyre. I'm so sick of it. Do the cash in, have them fail so we can all move on with our lives. Please. Please, man. I can't take this shit no more. I really can't. I really can't. Have Miz cash in and let's move on. Move on. And I see Edward. Edward says, I love Miz as a heel. I don't know how you can like The Miz. Babyface or heel. The guy sucks. He's boring. He's bland. Maybe a couple years ago, maybe. But Miz right now, hell no. I want him nowhere near my TV screen. I don't care about him. I don't. If you tell me you like The Miz in 2020, then I don't know. I'm going to have to say a prayer for you. Really. It's terrible. NBA YouTube says Aleister Black should have won Money in the Bank. He should have. If you guys go back to watch the Raw reviews back earlier this year. I said Aleister Black should win Money in the Bank and Shayna Baszler should probably win for the women. I was happy that Asuka won for the females. I had no problem with it, right? And at the time, I didn't really mind Otis winning. But it made no sense for Aleister Black not to be Mr. Money in the Bank. It made no sense. And look at Aleister Black now. His career is dead on the main roster. He's trying to get back to NXT, and WWE won't let him. Dead. Dead. Dead and buried. It's that simple. This is the kind of logic gaps you see with this company. Monday Night Raw tonight was absolutely unbearable. Absolutely unbearable. Other than the beginning with Randy Orton and The Fiend and AJ Styles becoming #1 contender, there was nothing of substance on this show. Everything else was stuff that we've already seen or stuff that we didn't give a shit about. And it's the same thing every single week with WWE. Every single week. Like what? You want me to care about The Miz? Go back to Miz in 2016 when he was IC champion. That was when I cared about The Miz. This version of The Miz, I couldn't give a shit about. Really. Get the Money in the Bank briefcase off of him, and let's move on with our lives. Better luck next year with Mr. Money in the Bank. Because this year you have absolutely failed. Absolutely failed. So there's your opening shoe. But thank you guys so very much for joining me on the podcast tonight. As always, guys, you guys are amazing. If you guys want to live tweet with me about wrestling and anime, make sure to follow me down on my social medias. The links are in the description down below. It's going to be a big week on the channel. We got tons of anime content for some of my anime fans out there. Not much WWE-wise. It's a quiet week, WWE. And, bro, after this show tonight, I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad. There's not really much else that I want to talk about. All right. I just got a notification. Carson Wentz throws an interception. So, sorry, Seahawks fan. I mean, not Seahawks fan. Eagles fan. You're taking another L. You're taking another L. That's funny. That is hilarious. But either way, thank you guys so very much. We are 100. We are this. I think it's like 110, something like that. We are only 110 subscribers away from 6,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new to the channel, you guys like what you guys see, make sure to subscribe. It helps me up a lot. Enable notifications so you guys don't miss a video. Like I said, I have a Patreon that I'm working on right now. I got merch on the way. All this will probably come out right around when we hit 6K. That is the goal by the end of the month for us to hit 6K subscribers going to 2021. And we're just gonna keep growing like we always do. But yeah, I don't really have any other big announcements, right? So we're just gonna get into Monday Night Raw like we always do. And yeah. So the show started off tonight. Yo, Ed, first off, before I get into Monday Night Raw, Edward says, it's my opinion, okay. You didn't have to get an attitude with me though. I'm not trying to give you an attitude. I'm just saying. You've been watching this podcast for how long? For mostly the last year. You watch every podcast. You know I have no filter. No filter. Come on, Edward. You should know better. Like, if you like the Miz, that's fine, man. I don't know why, but that's your opinion. That's your opinion, man. But it is what it is. But just know, for anybody in the chat, anybody watching this, I have no filter. I have no problem reacting to things people say live, negative or positive. It's my opinion at the end of the day, but I believe that I'm smarter than 99.9% of wrestling fans out there. That's why this podcast is successful, because we're here to educate people. Anyway, let's get into Monday Night Raw. So the show started off tonight with a moment of bliss. Like I said, this was actually really good. I've been on the record for weeks now saying I really enjoyed the work that Alexa Bliss and The Fiend are doing together. Alexa Bliss has, turned a new leaf in my eyes, and I'm a huge fan of what she's doing right now with this character. I said last week that they should be building up Alexa Bliss to contend with Asuka, because Asuka's championship reign is absolutely being wasted. She's done absolutely nothing. And like I said, I told you guys at the beginning, I'm just repeating myself every single week because Monday Night Raw and Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard refuse to make the changes necessary to make Raw successful. They refuse to make the changes necessary. It's the same shit every single week. Asuka still has no legit threat for the Raw Women's Championship. She has not had a legit threat since Sasha Banks and Zelina Vega at the beginning of the fall. Her championship reign has been absolutely wasted. And as great as Asuka is, it's going to go down in history as one of the most unmemorial long women's championship reigns of all time. It's a long reign that's unmemorable because she has no good matches, no good moments outside of Sasha and Zelina Vega. I said last week, build Alexa Bliss up. Build Alexa Bliss up to challenge Asuka. At least until Naomi and Charlotte can return. I don't know what's going to happen with Rhea Ripley, right? Rhea Ripley is coming to the main roster, but we don't know if she's going to be on Raw or SmackDown. So I'm not going to say anything on that until I see Rhea Ripley and what brand she's going to be on. But if Rhea Ripley's going to be on SmackDown, you need something for Asuka to do until Naomi and Charlotte get back. Honestly. You have Shayna Baszler there, Alexa Bliss, Mia Yim. 3 options, and you refuse to build anybody up. This is the kind of crap that I bitch and moan about every single week. every single week. Why the hell would I rather watch Carson Wentz throw interceptions every single week? I don't get it. I don't get it. Hey, okay, Don White says Zelina Vega was not a legit challenger. At least you can respect Zelina Vega. She's actually competent in the ring. If WWE did a better job building her up, she actually has what's the word I'm looking for? Potential to be a star in the women's division. She could talk in the microphone, and even though she's short, she can actually go in the ring. So Donna White, I'm going to have to disagree with you. She may not have been legit as a challenger from a story perspective because she was a manager for most of the year and they threw her into the women's division with no build-up. But when you look at Zelina Vega and you analyze her, she can wrestle in the ring and she can actually talk on the mic. So I'm going to have to disagree with you there, bro. But damn, they are wasting Asuka's reign. Asuka has been champion since May. Outside the 3 weeks that Sasha held the championship back in August, right? Outside those 3 weeks, Asuka's been champion now for technically 7 months, from May to December. If you take out those 3 weeks Sasha held the title. And she has nothing to show for it outside of the 4 matches she had with Sasha and the match she had with Zelina Vega. That's it. And don't try to argue with me otherwise. It's disgusting. Build Alexa Bliss up. Build Mia Yim up. Build Shayna Baszler up. Nobody cares about Shayna Baszler in this useless tag team that she's in. Nobody gives a crap. Nobody gives a crap. My fucking gosh. And the thing is, we'll talk about Asuka a little bit later. I'm just talking about in terms of Alexa Bliss. But anytime, back to the opening of the show. So, Alexa Bliss hosts a moment of bliss. Randy Orton gets welcomed to the show, right? You saw there was like a little cage. I kind of like the environment we had here. There was a little cage with a doll inside it in the middle of the ring. There was like two chairs that you would think that would be in like a 5-year-old's room around the ring. So I kind of like that scenery they set here, right? So Bliss pointed it out that Orton was in a bad mood, and that was because Orton lost to Styles last week, which kept him out of being #1 contender for the WWE title. Orton talked about how he has to bury that part of him deep down so that he could let in that vicious, that vicious personality that he has, that the Fiend covers up, with a mask. So I kind of like that. He compared the voices he hears to the voices that Wyatt hears. So, like I said, this was a good segment to start the show. Randy Orton talked about how he burned down the Wyatt's cabin, and that's the main reason why, the Fiend's going after him. Plus, remember, Randy Orton took the WWE Championship from the Fiend. Randy Orton said to finish the Fiend, he would have to find his weak spot, the same way he found Sister Abigail as Bray Wyatt's weak spot back a couple years ago when he was the Eater of Worlds. So he said that the new weakness that the Fiend had was Alexa Bliss. So there was a really good interaction here. Alexa gets up from her chair, looks him right in the eye, and says, "Who is manipulating who?" So the lights start to drop, and Orton says, "See what I mean?" So it was like Alexa was trying to get Orton to, make a mistake so the Fiend could take advantage. But Orton knew by Alexa being in the ring with him, Orton can use Alexa Bliss to get to the Fiend. So it kind of worked out in Randy Orton's favor. The Fiend got into the ring, and when the lights appeared, Orton was holding the Fiend in his, or not the Fiend, he was holding Alexa Bliss in his arms. So the Fiend looked a little concerned because I guess he doesn't want, his new friend, his, Alexa to get hurt. So the Fiend is like kind of almost like begging, pleading in a way. He's putting his arms slowly like, give her back. So Orton does hand Alexa over, and basically he just leaves the ring. So no fighting, but they did mention on commentary that it looks like Alexa's going to be the X factor in this whole feud. So I could definitely see something. I wouldn't mind this. Maybe Randy Orton kidnaps, right, Alexa Bliss, maybe from the Funhouse or something like that. Or maybe, Randy locks Bray Wyatt out of the Funhouse, and he has Alexa in there. I feel like there's some really cool things. Like, I don't know how I could be more creative sitting behind this camera and my headphones being used as a microphone. How can I be more creative than the people who get paid to run this show? I know I say this all the time, but it's facts. It's fucking facts, right? But it kills. It makes me laugh. It truly makes me laugh, right? But there are some really good segments. I think if WWE wants to be creative, we know that they can't. But if they wanted to be creative for once, if someone from WWE was listening to the podcast, maybe you could do like a Randy Orton kidnaps Alexa Bliss, right? Maybe you do something like that, or you could. There's lots of things you can do. The story is there. The story is there between Randy Orton and The Fiend. It's just I'm not that excited for the match. If the match takes place at TLC, whatever. Maybe they do another House of Horrors match. Or not, was it House, or a Firefly Funhouse match? I would not mind them doing a Randy Orton versus The Fiend Firefly Funhouse match like they did with John Cena at WrestleMania. It was one of the best things we've seen all year, in my opinion. All year long. And I would not mind if they did it again here. Really, I wouldn't. Because the story's there. I'm just not excited for the match. Either way, I love what Alexa's doing. The segment did its job, and it was one of the only good things, only positives on the show tonight. All right. But we'll see. We'll see. But not a bad way to open the show. But we went from something good to something absolutely pitiful. We had Jeff Hardy versus Elias in a Sympathy of Destruction match. This is not the first time we've seen this match on Monday Night Raw. All right? This may have been the third time we've seen Elias in this match. I think he did this match against Matt Hardy. I don't know. But this is not the first time we've seen it on Raw. This is like the Elias staple. Because, of course, his thing is hitting people with guitars. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? I thought this feud ended a couple weeks ago, but for some reason, they continue to give it to us every single week. Because they have nothing else. Nothing else. Let me try to see if I can find the other match. Yes, they did a Braun Strowman versus Elias. Braun Strowman and Elias versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. Sympathy of Destruction match. Just a couple months ago, earlier this year. They also did Braun Strowman and Elias in a Sympathy of Destruction match 2 years ago on Monday Night Raw. So, clearly this is an Elias staple match, and no one gives a shit. Like I said, guys, I fell asleep during this match. Bleacher Report gave this match a C+. I don't know, and I don't care. This is garbage. I don't care about either men. I don't care about Elias, and sadly, I don't care about Jeff Hardy. I don't. I'm going to go through the notes really quick, right? Just to see what happened. They showed a video package recapping, every time Elias or Jeff Hardy attacked each other with a guitar. So, Hardy got slammed into a piano. The piano starts moving, and Elias found out R-Truth was inside. Because, R-Truth's running for the 24/7 championship. Garbage. Who cares? So, we see Elias ram Jeff Hardy into a guitar. Then we see Elias put guitar picks between Jeff Hardy's fingers and use them as brass knuckles. So I guess there were some good spots in here. But I don't care. I'm not going to go back and watch this match because I don't give a shit. So, Elias then slammed Jeff Hardy onto some drums, right? Then Elias hit Hardy with a guitar. Hardy grabbed the bottom rope to break the pin up after the guitar hit. Elias electrocuted himself with a speaker, and Hardy put him on top of a table. Then he did the Swanton Bomb through the table for the win, right? So, there you have it. So, I guess the match was okay. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm not going to go back and rewatch the match. I don't care what they do with these two men going forward, right? Elias still does probably have him feud with maybe Keith Lee or some crap, something stupid. And, Jeff Hardy, maybe he goes feud. I don't know what you do with Jeff Hardy. I don't. And I don't really care. Like I said, WWE has potential to have a really good mid-card division. But like I said, it's just hard for me to care about most of these superstars. Like, make me care about them. Make me care. Put them in storylines I actually want to see them in. Stop with this nonsense. Don't care. Don't care. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you guys enjoyed the match, whatever. But I did not enjoy the match. Next up, we had Ricochet versus Slapjack. Slapjack. All right. I don't know. Can somebody in the chat tell me who is Slapjack in Retribution? I forget. It's not that I care, but I just need a reminder for future reference, right? But Ricochet, they showed not video packages, promos. Ricochet said that he would take out Retribution member to get to Ali, right? I don't know why they just don't put Ricochet in Retribution. I feel like it would be better than whatever he's doing right now. I like Ricochet. I do. He's talented in the ring. I wish he had a little more charisma, but he is very talented in the ring. And he's another guy that should be in the mid-card division fighting for the United States title. You have all these names that have a really competitive mid-card division, but yet you don't use them. You don't use them. At least you don't use them correctly. And it stuns my mind, and it hurts. It hurts a lot to watch. It does. But, Ricochet, they're putting him in this feud with Retribution. This doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. Ali and Ricochet should be used better, right? I would put Ali and Ricochet together in Retribution and actually try to make them into a dominant stable. Because you need dominant groups on Monday Night Raw. Instead of this 50-50 booking we see every single week. We saw Ali and Retribution. They had a promo tonight. Slapjack talked about how he's a weapon for Retribution. And, Ricochet said he's going to try to save Mustafa Ali. All right. But then instead of trying to save him, he's going to stop him and just try to be better with him. Useless nonsense. Very useless nonsense. Anyway, Ricochet hit a springboard. I don't even know why I'm going through the notes of this match. I don't really care. So midway through, Ali calls Mason T-Bar. Still, man, I still hate that Dominic Dijakovic has to go through that terrible name. But either way, Mason T-Bar, man, so bad. Anyway, Ricochet threw Slapjack into them when they tried to get involved, right? He took all three out with a suicide dive. He rode Slapjack back in, tried to finish him off. Dana Brooke came out of nowhere and slapped Ali in the face. That was mainly because she was looking for Reckoning, a.k.a. Mia Yim. Probably because, remember, Mia Yim took out Dana and Mandy Rose a couple weeks ago, keeping them from being in the Survivor Series match for Monday Night Raw. That distraction allowed Slapjack to hit his finisher on Ricochet for the win. So, surprised that Slapjack got the win here. Honestly, like I said, I don't care, right? I would just put Ricochet in Retribution and build them up as a dominant stable. I don't care about this feud. Yes, Ricochet and Ali, they'll probably have another match eventually, and they have fantastic chemistry together. We all know this. But I don't care. I don't care. What's it going to do for both of them in the long run? Instead of making them into a dominant stable, they just continue this 50-50 booking garbage every single fucking week. Why should I care? Why should I care? Bunch of nonsense. That's legit what it is. It's a bunch of nonsense. Next up, we had Miz TV. Sheamus was the special guest, right? Like I said, I don't care about anything Miz does. I hate that John Morrison is not being used. John Morrison should be in the main event, fighting for the WWE title, not in a worthless tag team that no one cares about with him and Morrison. Or not him and Miz, my bad. So, Sheamus was in no mood for their stupid jokes, right? Because they were going to be opponents later in the show in the tag team match with McIntyre. Throughout the night, they kept showing freaking stupid clips, reliving Drew McIntyre's dominant year in 2020. And like I said, he's been great for the most part. For the most part. Outside of a couple instances where WWE just fucking booked him terribly. Especially during his reign as champion. But, that was the theme throughout the show. But during Miz TV, The Miz asked him about McIntyre and why McIntyre is a bad friend because McIntyre has not given him a WWE Championship opportunity, right? And Miz called Sheamus an afterthought who used to be a top dog in WWE. I disagree. Sheamus has actually been really good this year, right? He hasn't held any championship gold, but as a singles competitor, I believe, with his heel turn and his return earlier this year, he's actually been pretty good. Pretty good for the most part. Would I like to see him fighting for championships a little more often? Yes. But for the most part, I think Sheamus has had a decent year, right? And I definitely think, next year he could potentially win some kind of gold. Will it be a world title? Probably not, but you never know. He definitely is a main event player. I will definitely give Sheamus that, but we'll see. But I don't think Sheamus is an afterthought. Miz should not be talking. He's an afterthought. The Money in the Bank briefcase is the only thing keeping him relevant right now. I don't give a shit about the Miz. Don't know. I don't need to go through that again because you guys already saw my opening shoot at the beginning of the podcast, right? Miz should not be talking about afterthoughts when he's legit the biggest afterthought on Monday Night Raw right now. I couldn't give a shit about him no matter what he does, right? So, Sheamus took off his jacket and got in Miz's face, right? He attacked both men and was able to beat them down, but Miz hit him with the briefcase over and over again. And that would set up later for the main event tag team match. All right? So, whatever. So, backstage, Sheamus talked to Drew McIntyre. Sheamus was a little bit pissed at Drew McIntyre for not having his back out there because he said he would have had his back if the roles were reversed. But Drew said they would get their payback on Miz and Morrison in the main event. Like I said earlier, I am so sick and tired of seeing these two in the main event. I'm so tired of seeing McIntyre and The Miz. So tired of it. We've seen it so many times in the last couple months, and I could not care anymore for it. I don't care for it at all. At all. Now, I don't care if you guys disagree with me or not. If you guys want to see The Miz in the main event, then I'm sorry. I think you guys are watching the wrong podcast. I'm gonna Oh, man. Oh, man. Anyway, moving on. Going to another terrible spot on the show. We had Asuka and Lana. Asuka and Lana versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. I'm going to try to keep this quick, but this could easily turn into a rant. My boy NBA YouTube, he sent me a couple messages over the weekend. Like I said, if you guys want to talk to me at any time, just follow me on social media. Just make sure you guys are appropriate. Because you guys send me anything inappropriate or do anything wacky, I will block you in an instant. But NBA YouTube sent me over the weekend that one of the planned matches for TLC is Asuka and Lana versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. First off, we've already seen that match last week. We saw the match again this week, right? And Asuka and Lana beat Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler both times, 2 weeks in a row. So this could easily mean we could see this match for the Women's Tag Team Championships at TLC. And I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I don't want to see that. Asuka should be defending the Raw Women's Championship. She should not be in a worthless tag team with Lana going after the tag team titles. She should be elevating the Raw Women's Championship. And I already ranted how WWE should be building up Mia Yim and Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler to be facing Asuka. Right? Because Asuka has done nothing during her reign as champion outside of the matches with Sasha Banks and Zelina Vega. That's it. That's it. And I don't know, people say they're holding off till Charlotte comes back, but that's not a fucking excuse. If your plan is to do Charlotte and Asuka as your big match, for the Raw Women's Championship, once he comes back around Royal Rumble time, fine. I don't give a shit. That's whatever. That's whatever. My problem is you giving Asuka nothing to do with doing during that time. In the meantime, she has nothing to do. Her reign has been garbage. Garbage. And it's not Asuka's fault. It's the people booking the show every single week. It's that simple. It's that simple. But I don't know why you're doing this. If they dare do this match at TLC, I'm not watching it. I'm not wasting my time watching Asuka and Lana versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax at TLC. I'm not doing it. I don't care. I don't care enough to watch that match at TLC. I don't care what anybody says. I'm sorry. That's my peep break, right? And then JD from NY206 reported this weekend. There's actually discussions going about Lana potentially winning the Women's Royal Rumble. I dare WWE to do that. If they don't want people to come to WrestleMania, because they're trying to make WrestleMania into this big show, right? I dare WWE to do that. I'm telling you right now, people are not going to watch they're not going to watch WrestleMania. Remember when people didn't care about Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 34 a couple years back in that main event? One of the worst main events in WrestleMania history, right? That's the kind of response you're going to get if you do Asuka versus Lana at WrestleMania. We've already seen the match multiple times on Monday Night Raw. Already seen it. The matches were no good. No good. And who the hell wants to see Lana in any match at WrestleMania? Nevertheless, a championship match? Winning the Women's Royal Rumble? Have you not learned from your mistakes in the past? Have you not learned? You already saw how bad putting the Money in the Bank briefcase on Otis worked. Look at what's going on with The Miz right now. Now you're planning on making another dumb decision by maybe potentially having Lana win the Women's Royal Rumble? Are you fucking kidding me right now? Do you not care about your company? Are you that far gone, Vince? Are you that far gone? The only time the Women's Championship and the Tag Team Championship were ever intersected before what we're seeing right now was when Sasha and Bayley were on all three shows. And it was fantastic. You're not going to get that same magic here with whatever they're doing with this dumbass feud. I don't care about Lana. Nothing you do will make me care about Lana. She cannot wrestle. It's that simple. She's not good in the ring. I don't care how much you try to sell me that Lana is a babyface. You have names like Naomi. I'd rather see Peyton Royce challenging for the Raw Women's Championship than any of this crap we're seeing right now. Nikki Cross, talented individual. Alexa Bliss, like I've been saying for weeks now. Mia Yim. Naomi when she comes back, hopefully. It's straight garbage. It's straight garbage. I dare you to have Lana win the Women's Royal Rumble. I won't believe it till I see it. The only people that should be in contention to win the Women's Royal Rumble are Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. It's that simple at the end of the day. You can make an argument for Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, right? If you're gonna have Becky and Ronda on Monday Night Raw when they come back, but they're mostly gonna be on SmackDown. Because on SmackDown, that match has to be Sasha and Bianca. Either Sasha Bianca or Sasha versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. It's one or the other. But on Raw, the only person that should be in contention to win the Women's Royal Rumble is Rhea Ripley or Bianca Belair. Or Naomi. Because I would not mind seeing Asuka versus Naomi at WrestleMania. That's it. So right now, that's my thoughts on the Lana situation. But I dare WWE to do that. I dare them to do that. They're really trying to bury this company for real. Oh my gosh. Woo. Oh. Man. And I also read a report real quick, more Lana news. I forgot who reported it. It was earlier today on Cage Side Seats. But there was a report that WWE's trying to bury Lana. How are you burying her? You had her as a sole survivor at Survivor Series, and she's pinned. She's pinned. You know, Shayna Baszler 2 weeks in a row. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like I guess they're trying to break Lana's spirits or something like that. If you're trying to do that, you're doing a really bad job of it. Stop with the stupid Lana angle that nobody gives a shit about, and actually make your women's division important. There is no reason the women's division should be as bad as it is right now. There's no excuse. No excuse. Absolutely pitiful what we're seeing on Monday Night Raw right now with this women's division. Getting into the match, I don't care. The match was terrible. All right? Really. The match was mostly Lana getting beat down. Right? If Asuka had more time, it would have been maybe something a little bit better. But like I said, this is mainly the same match that we saw right here. It was basically Nia Jax and Baszler, taking turns beating up on Lana the entire the match. It's so bad. So bad. You really have Lana and Asuka, who are not even a team, right? Because clearly, the next time we see this match, it's going to be for the women's tag team titles. Because we've seen Asuka and Lana now win this match 2 weeks in a row. It's so bad that you're not building up the Riot Squad to take those titles from Jax and Baszler, but you're building up Asuka and Lana when Asuka should be defending the Raw Women's Championship, not trying to become a double champion again. No one cares. Nobody cares. I honestly don't understand how WWE can be this bad booking a division. I really don't understand it. The logic gaps here are absolutely atrocious. Atrocious. Lana win, right, because Asuka got the hot tag. She took the Baszler with strikes. Lana tagged herself in, right? Baszler tried to put Lana in the Karafuda clutch. Asuka was able to get Nia off the rope from interfering. And then Lana was able to reverse the submission into a roll-up for the victory. Like I said, terrible, terrible booking here. Nobody gives a shit! Nobody gives a shit. Next up, we had Cedric Alexander versus Xavier Woods. Cedric Alexander versus Xavier Woods. Like I said, the only reason why we got this tonight is because WWE's trying to find an excuse to give us the Hurt Business versus the New Day at TLC. Like I said, because last week, WWE botched the finish and the New Day retained twice over the Hurt Business. So that's the third time in 2 weeks that the New Day have beat the Hurt Business. So when WWE, sees that they need to find some BS reason to give another team another title match, this is what they do. They did the same thing a couple months ago when they had Randy Orton pin Drew McIntyre clean after hitting an RKO in a worthless six-man tag team match on Monday Night Raw. I think it was Orton and Miz and Morrison versus Drew McIntyre and the Street Profits. Well, the Street Profits were still on Monday Night Raw before the draft. It really shows how dumb this company is. For real. For real. Like, I don't mind the feud. I think the Hurt Business and the New Day are great. But first off, there's no teams on Monday Night Raw, like I've been bitching and moaning about. There's no division, so WWE's just going to keep doing match after match after match because they know that they have no fucking division because Vince knows he fucked up and he won't fix it. And they needed a reason to keep the feud going. I would not mind seeing the Hurt Business win the tag team titles. I really want it. But at the end of the day, the way we get there, the logic gaps there, cannot be ignored. Because it shows how bad WWE is booking-wise. It's that simple. It's really that simple. Right? But we got the match. The match wasn't bad. Cedric Alexander, had a lot of momentum here. He was out to prove a point. And, the match was good. And I expect that. These two are really good in the ring together. They have really good chemistry. So the match was good. So, basically at the end of the match, Woods made his comeback. He hit the honor roll for a 2 count. He sidestepped a suicide dive and sent Alexander into the barricade. But when they got back into the ring, Alexander hit the lumbar check out of nowhere and then got the win for his team. So I'm willing to bet next week, right, because I know this company too well, we're going to get Kofi Kingston versus Shelton Benjamin. And you'll have a signature, a finish like we saw tonight. And, then they'll say, both members of the New Day were pinned 2 weeks in a row in singles action. I think that means that the Hurt Business deserve another opportunity at the tag team titles. And we'll probably get a match at TLC for the titles. It'll be another banger of the match, but that's the way WWE is. That's WWE logic 101. Because they have no tag teams in the division, and when they fuck up, this is the way they believe they find solutions. It shows how bad WWE is. I'm telling you, next week, you're going to see it. You're going to see it. Shelton Benjamin will beat Kofi Kingston next week. And that's how we get the stage set for the match at TLC. I know. Yeah, I know I'm right. You guys will see it next week. You'll see it next week. Next up, I don't know why this wasn't the fucking main event. Keith Lee versus Matt Riddle versus AJ Styles to determine the number one contender for the WWE title at TLC. This is the kind of shit I'm talking about. Another logic gap. This should have been the main event. This was a really good match between three really good superstars. Put Matt Riddle and Keith Lee in the main event. Give them that main event exposure, right? Give people a reason to see, oh, this is the future. These two are potential world champions. These two are future top stars on Raw and SmackDown. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't know why WWE is so fucking bad. So fucking bad when it comes to scripting this stuff. Like, come on. I said last week this would be the main event. I thought everybody knew this was going to be the main event. Instead, they put it at the top of the third hour. For what? You should have done that stupid garbage with Drew McIntyre, Sheamus versus Matt Riddle, or not Matt Riddle, versus Miz and Morrison at the top of the third hour, and this number one contenders match should have been the main event. I don't know why. I don't know why. And if you thought this should have not been the main event, you're the problem with this company. Because that means you have no logic when it comes to WWE booking. No logic whatsoever. We all knew, or most of us knew, that AJ Styles was the favorite, right? Because Keith Lee's a babyface, and I don't think Keith Lee's I'm not saying Keith Lee's ready. He's not there yet. He's not there yet. They're either going to save Keith Lee for WrestleMania against Drew McIntyre, or it's going to be Keith Lee versus Brock Lesnar. It's one of those two things. And Matt Riddle, I don't see Matt Riddle being put in that spot right now. Not yet. And clearly it looks like Matt Riddle is going to be feuding with Bobby Lashley, which I don't mind, because I've been saying that's one of the feuds they should be doing in the mid-card division. Matt Riddle, it looks like he's going to be feuding with Bobby Lashley over the United States Championship, because Lashley attacked Matt Riddle backstage after the match tonight. But the match was pretty good, right? We saw Omos, that's what they're calling him now. AJ's bodyguard, they're calling him Omos. He's actually kind of funny. He has a little bit of a comedic personality, but we have no idea if this guy will ever be put in the ring. Okay, I know he's very inexperienced. But Omos helped Styles hit Lee with a running knee before Riddle took them both out at ringside. Styles countered a Broton before Lee sent him flying out of the ring. Lee then began to focus on Riddle as he threw him across the ring and crushed him in the corner. Lee countered Riddle's triangle submission, but Riddle kicked him in the head. So basically near the end here, Riddle hit Lee with knee after knee after knee. I think it was like 3 or 4 knees in a row, which I liked. But AJ Styles waited for the right moment. The only thing that was bad about the finish is you could tell how scripted it was, because after Riddle hit Lee with like that 4th knee and Lee finally fell down, he waited like 4 seconds. He waited like a couple seconds just for Styles to be positioned for the phenomenal forearm. So the finish looked a little bit wacky, but Styles winning was completely the right decision. Styles and Drew McIntyre are going to tear the house down at TLC. I would not mind seeing AJ Styles win the WWE title. I really wouldn't. I would not. I like AJ Styles a lot. I would not mind him being WWE champion. I really wouldn't mind it. I don't see it happening, but no matter what, it's going to be an absolute banger of a match. Banger of a match, and I cannot wait to see it. All right. Moving on. We had Dana Brooke versus Reckoning. So this was clearly a setup because of the attacks from Mia Yim a couple weeks before Survivor Series, right? And then Dana Brooke slapping Ali earlier in the night during the Ricochet versus Slapjack match. So this was actually, I believe this would be, this would be Liv's first match on Monday Night Raw. her first official match on Monday Night Raw. And you have her lose to Dana Brooke. The match only went about 3 minutes, right? And Dana Brooke won with a roll-up because all he tried to distract Brooke, but Brooke got the pin with a roll-up. So Brooke didn't get distracted, and she won the match. So, look, good for Dana Brooke. She got a win. Good for her. No, I don't care about her, but congratulations, good for her. But this is Mia Yim's first match on Monday Night Raw. I just said at the beginning of the podcast they used to be building Mia Yim up to potentially face Asuka in 2021, right? Potentially face her. And this is what you do? This is what you do. This is what you decide to do. This is the logic gaps here. You have Mia Yim lose her first match, her first official match, because I refuse to call her Reckoning. Mia Yim, her first match on the main roster, and she loses to Dana Brooke. So bad. And you know what else is worse? Mia Yim looked like Mia Yim tonight. She wasn't wrestling with that stupid mask on. She was in normal ring gear, right? It was in Reckoning colors, but she was in normal ring gear, and she looked like the Mia Yim from NXT. But yet they want to call her Reckoning. This is the kind of shit I'm talking about with this company. When they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Instead of building up Mia Yim, her first match on Monday Night Raw, she loses to Dana Brooke. Mia Yim, who's one of the best in the women's division down in NXT, and this is what you're doing with her. Can't make this shit up with this company. Thank God. Thank God Mercedes Martinez is not in Retribution. She got her. She knew. She saw. She will never admit this because she's with WWE. But she saw how bad Retribution was, and she got out of there, giving herself hopefully a chance to succeed. Mia Yim, man, one of the best from NXT Women's Division, absolutely wasted on the main roster. First match on the main roster, losing to Dana Brooke in 3 minutes. Wow. This is the kind of shit I'm talking about, bro. This is the kind of shit I'm talking about. Edward, I agree. I actually agree with you. I would not mind seeing Lana and Dana Brooke as a tag team. Mandy Rose and Dana don't really make much sense to me. I feel like, Mandy would do better in the singles as a singles competitor. But, if you put Lana and Dana Brooke together, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. Because why not? So, we had our main event, Miz and Morrison versus Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Like I said, the main event should have been the triple threat number one contenders match. I have no idea why this was the main event. This match wasn't even that good. It really wasn't. But one of the stories going into the match was if Sheamus was going to betray Drew McIntyre, but they didn't go down that direction. Right? Sheamus puts Miz into the corner and hits some body blows before throwing him with a fallaway slam. Then he threw, I kind of like this, he throws Miz to the corner so Miz could tag Morrison in. So then McIntyre comes in, he takes down Morrison. Then he tags Sheamus in for double team moves, right? Then Drew McIntyre took on Miz and Morrison at once, taking them down. And then he dared AJ Styles to get involved, right? But Drew tagged in Sheamus. Sheamus argued then with AJ Styles also. And then it looked like Sheamus was going to try to brawl with Styles, but then Omos got in the way. After the break, The Miz and Morrison were controlling the pace. Against Sheamus, McIntyre tagged in, and he did his normal comeback. Sheamus begged for the tag, but Morrison pulled him off the apron and threw him over the barricade, and that was the last we would see of Sheamus. Excuse me. And then Styles came in with the phenomenal forearm for the disqualification, and we had that stupid-ass, wacky finish, which I talked about in the opening shoot. I'm not going to go over it again. Like I said, the main event was absolutely awful. You need to stop this nonsense with Drew McIntyre, The Miz, and Morrison. If you want to have Miz cash in, fine. Make sure he fails. Because I know nobody, and if they tell you that they care about Miz being the WWE champion, they're either lying to you or they're retarded. Nobody cares about Miz being WWE champion in 2020. I don't care at all. at all. All right? I don't want to hear it. But the match itself was terrible, right? And it represented Monday Night Raw tonight. The only two good things on the show were the opening segment with Alexa, The Fiend, and Randy Orton, and the number one contenders match. Other than that, the show was garbage as usual. Another edition of Monday Night Raw where I'd rather watch Monday Night Football. I'd rather watch Carson Wentz throw 11 interceptions than watch this show. It's that, just me being honest. Just me being honest. All right? Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section. As always, guys, thank you guys so very much for joining me on the podcast. I'm going to get out of here because I cannot watch this show any longer. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. I'm putting my shoe on. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed so we can educate other casual idiots in the community like we always do. Also, man, and yes, NBA YouTube, I agree with you. Morrison needs to turn on Miz and, become a babyface. That's what they need to do. Stop with that nonsense. Leave a like in the video. As always, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. For everyone, make sure to follow me on social media if you guys ever want to live tweet with me, all that stuff. Like I said, guys, we're trying to get to 6,000 subscribers. So let's try to get that done in the next month. We're only about 100 subscribers away. So let's get to that. All right? Like I said, Patreon's coming soon. Merch, all that is on the way. So got a lot of stuff coming for you guys as we near the end of the year. Thank you guys for everything once again, man. Hopefully I'll be more positive. I'm usually more positive on my SmackDown reviews because SmackDown's actually decent. So make sure you guys go check those out as well. As I said, guys, got anime content coming for you guys. So if you guys are a fan of anime, make sure to check that out. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm out of here. Stay safe, stay healthy. Peace.